Hi, this is Trisha Schmalhofer here with episode 2 of Badasses, Alchemists, and Mystics.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm here with Robin Krasny, and she's one of my dearest friends, definitely a BAM all around. She is a gal that just does so many cool things. And this is our first live broadcast, and I'm a little nervous about this, but
She's with me. She'll just be fine.
You know, I just want to say this is what Robin represents in my life, is she pushes me into badassery because it's like things that I feel fearful about. Robin's like, no, you're going to do it. Here, it's just natural. Do it. And
you're good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, we were going to record this, and then she
It's like, what the? Go live.
Yeah. And
I'll try not to say on camera, but just go live, and I'll try and behave myself.
Yeah, so that's probably impossible, but that's okay. We wouldn't expect anything different than
badassery.
Badassery. So, Robin, why don't you say a little bit about your stuff? No, you know what I'm going to do first.
Okay,
You know what I'm going to do first?
What is
it? Just explain a little bit about what a badass is, what an alchemist is, what a mystic is.
Yeah, because I bring my badass, my alchemist and mystic wherever I go.
Yes, you definitely do. You are an authentic person through and through. No matter what environment you're in, you're Robin. You are Robin.
Can't be anybody else.
And that is really a badass. It's a person that walks through the fear. No matter what, they're following an inner guidance, very in touch with who they are, and they're doing it through life to raise consciousness, to maybe help large amounts of people, or, you know, even just the people in their circle. Badasses come in all shapes and sizes and in all fields, all careers. You know, you don't have to be a healer, a big speaker, or a teacher of thousands. You can be a mom.
And you know, the badasseriest thing, that's my new word, that you can do is to do your own inner work so that you're at peace and that you are in a place. So your inner badassery that you do to dive into some of the scariest places in your soul and your consciousness for healing brings forth a ripple of change in the oneness, in the field that we all swim in. And we brought all of our swimmy things with us today. We're both wearing ocean today.
Yeah, both of us do, and you might see on video, if you have video, we really like oracle cards. That's one tool that I use a lot. And in my oracle card reading today, about this podcast, I got water elements. So I wore my water shirt. It's blue and it has ruffles that look like the ocean,
waves,
right? When especially when the wind blows.
And I brought my thing that looks like it's got sprayed ocean spray all over it, like the bubbles of the ocean.
And what's your necklace?
Oh, this is a Marine Resource Council whale tail. Dolphin tail, whale tail, in support of our estuaries here in Florida, which are at great risk right now. So they have been for a long time, but it's for the Marine Resource Council. I really love those people. They're doing a lot of good things for our dolphins. Yay.
So they're badasses.
Totally.
And, you know, that brings me to alchemy, because that kind of thing to me is alchemy. Like organizations that form to change or transmute energy. So if you have, you know, in this case, they're trying to uplift, you know, marine life and help with conservation and awareness, right?
Save our planet.
Yeah. So environmental issues, like that's about changing from one state to another. So you know, therapists, anyone can be an alchemist that really just shifts states of emotion, of consciousness, right? So I could be feeling like crap, and I could give Robin a call because I feel like crap and I feel like I just need to connect. And, you know, Robin will say things to me that shift my consciousness. They shift me to a higher vibration. So organizations and people that are alchemists that are shifting things for
transforming.
I
like the word transform because it just completely, you know, you take one thing and then something births out of it that's completely unexpected, and new perspective offers you different thought, which creates different feelings in your body. So even being able to shift from, you can't solve a problem at the level it was created. You have to kind of rise above it in order to see the overview so that you can actually see solutions. It's definitely hard to solve one of your problems if you're in the midst of it. You really need a timeout. You need to, sit back. You need to lift up. Whatever you can do to change your thought around something will shift it and shift your perspective. And that's the beginning of transformation, I think. And that's alchemy.
It is.
Right? And if you practice it, you're a mystic.
Yes. And we'll go into mystic. But you have to be a badass and go through your fear sometimes to enter into alchemy, or to be aware enough that, like you said, I do have to rise up out of the situation to look at it from a different perspective so I can come up with solutions. And so you have to sometimes go through the fear of change, fear of putting yourself out there. Doing this live podcast is really an example of that. Like, I was like, I don't want to do a live podcast. I want to do it recorded so we can. And, Robin and Jesse, our producer, they got me in the flow. They basically were alchemists today and helped me realize my inner badass of, I'm here to take the mask off and to be authentic and to have fun, and live, it just gets people interacting, right?
Yeah.
It's in the moment.
And I believe that when you get people talking about, like we're talking about lifting the consciousness up so that you can see the solutions are at a different level. And it's not like you have to search for them once you get to a different level. Sometimes they just find you. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we just have to shift our state. And the thing I do to shift anything is breathe. And I've started a new thing called Breathe With Me. I mean, obviously, like people say, pray with me, or do this with me, or go to the movies with me, or drink this shot of vodka with me. Instead, you could say, hey, breathe with me for 5 seconds. Breathe with me for 2 minutes, 3 deep breaths. And what I find with students and with people, 3 deep breaths can really shift just about any kind of state, because you're shifting in that time from the sympathetic overload, which is your fight, flight response, fight, flight, freeze, all that kind of stuff, the survival mode consciousness, into your parasympathetic nervous system, which is there to balance you. It should happen naturally. Right? We just want to say parasympathetic. Feels so good. So, it's meant to balance ourselves all the time. But we get so stuck and triggered in the sympathetic nervous system response that what can shift us? What can transform us out of that? And we find with people with PTSD, they're triggered constantly in this sympathetic nervous response. So in the yoga that I'm trained in called bootstrap yoga, which is for soldiers with PTSD, it's for everybody, really. I mean, everybody's walking around in a certain state of triggered most all the time, unless you're a real, practicing badass alchemist and mystic. You're feeling the vibes. And if you are, you're feeling the vibes of what's on the planet right now.
Right. So put a bookmark in that. Yes.
Okay. I
do want to come back to that, but I want to go into mystic. I want to define.
Oh yeah,
that
sorry, I coughed. You go ahead.
No, it's all good. I don't mind it from you.
Okay, honey.
So I was thinking about Robin today, and she is a mystic, and I'm a mystic. It's a mystic goes through different realms. Some of them are hidden. Some of them aren't in the tangible 3D space. But here's something from an oracle card. It's a mystical shaman card. And I'm like, gosh, this is Robin. To me, this is Robin. And we're going to go into more about the fabulousness of Robin.
I just want to hear this.
So the symbol of the mystical shaman is a storyteller. She observes the story as it evolves through and perceives all aspects of it. A mystical shaman dreams a new story into being. She dances between worlds.
Amen, sister.
Wearing the cloak of the world loosely around her shoulders and sings the world into being.
Oh, I love this.
She reminds us to be in the world and travel through it, but not be defined by it or become too attached to the experience. This is the symbol of true alchemy.
Ha-ho.
For all elements of life have a spiritual aspect and material one. It's the balance, right? When we remember this, all manner of miracles and manifestation are possible. So to me, that's Robin.
Wow.
Mystic. She's a...
Can we put a bookmark in that?
Yes,
please.
We can. But,
wow.
But the aspect
Thank
of
you.
mysticism is the storytellers, the intuitives, the singers, the poets.
The dream walkers.
The dream walkers, the dancers that are channeling the spiritual energy through movement. Like it's not about, dancing.
It's a prayer to me.
It is. And that's when we first met, by the way. It was a soul dance event, which ended up being all women, but it was open to men too. But it was like women in this group, and a bunch of music was played from all different genres, and you just move. And so you're in the space as an individual, but you're also in a collective, and you're not worried about, how does this look, or what's this step, or is that person watching me?
Yeah.
It's like you're in your mystic flow, right? Of you're dancing in the material and you're channeling the spirit, and it is so lovely. And that's where we first met. And so
that's true yoga, true qigong, true tai chi, true flow of that. And this is what I teach in my Breathe With Me, is how to ground to the earth, how to connect to the heavens, and how to open up your heart. And then from that place, we are this in the world. We are authentically acupuncture needles for divine energy for the planet Earth and for ourselves. Suddenly we're tapped in, we're plugged in, we're turned on. You know, if we didn't plug that computer in before we did, nothing would happen. So first things first, when I work with anybody, is let's get grounded and connected and open up with our breath, and then we can have a conversation. Then we can start to get somewhere, you know. And I think that the movement part, when you're moving, you're out of your linear thinking. Mm-hmm. You're out. You've kind of cock-blocked the mind a little bit to trick it into just following what you're physically doing and paying attention to the sensation instead of thinking about, that hurts or that didn't. You know, you want to be an observer more as a witness. Mm-hmm. And that's what the yogic consciousness and all this stuff is about, witnessing. But I think when you move your body and you're able to witness what's happening, it's so much more powerful for me as a musician and a dancer and a singer to move, and a yoga instructor for 35 years before it was cool, to move like that actually gets the prana flowing. Chi, prana, ki, energy, whatever you want to call it, the Holy Spirit, get it moved through your system so that the information is available to you.
Right.
You know, it's information.
Right.
And flow.
For people that might not be into yoga and even might say themselves, soul dance, sacred dance, I don't know if that's my thing. But, you know, people might be runners.
Yeah.
You know, like they say about the runner's high, or people that will run for miles, and they just kind of get into that zone where they are moving, but like things are moving through them.
I do that when I swim. I swim with my dad. It's great meditation. It's really awesome meditation because you don't have to listen to anybody except your own rhythm and your own breath and the water going by you. It's a really beautiful meditation for me, swimming. But so is walking.
Yeah, me too. Walking really is mine.
Hey,
out in nature.
Do you know my yoga for cleaning a house?
Yeah, no, but
Okay, and I told Edgar Winter this when I met him backstage one time, is that if I didn't have your album, Frankenstein, my house would have never been clean. Because I hate housework. Everybody who knows me knows that I hate housework. And the only way I can motivate myself is to put on some, like, Frankenstein, this heavy-duty rock thing, and suddenly my house cleans itself because I'm in the flow of the movement of that. So whatever your badass pick is for moving your energy to do things that seem insurmountable, like maybe this live show, whatever it is that you can do to make yourself get into the flow of everything is okay.
That's right. You know what gets me in that flow? Sweeping.
Okay.
Like I'll just take a broom.
Scooping the pool. for me.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, it's very qigong tai chi.
It is.
Yeah.
And for me, like sweeping, like I get into a zone and I'm sweeping my front porch, or I sweep my driveway, or I sweep my house. And
come over. I have some yoga for you to do this afternoon.
Yeah.
It's got a back porch for sure.
Yeah, but just that repetitive movement, and then I'll like try to, if I'm kind of in an emotional state that day, I'll think about sweeping it away.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Sweeping my mind. If I'm, into monkey mind or
right.
overthink, which is one of my things, it's like, okay, we're going to sweep that out. It's okay.
Oh, I like that. I like the sweeping thing.
Yeah.
That's a good visual, too.
It is.
People don't realize that with every exhale, we have an opportunity. That's right.
I always remember to breathe when I'm with Robin.
And thank God that people remember that around me. I used to have a student of mine say, every time I'm driving in my car, I can hear your voice in the background go, breathe. And you know what? Thank God I'm remembered for that. It made me very happy on my epitaph to say, she reminded me to breathe.
So if people want to take, so you do a breathe with me class, or is it one-on-one?
And I want to start doing videos, like man on the street stuff with breathe with me stuff, so that people can not be so afraid to just drop and give me 3, Is there a website for specifically breathe with me? I do have a website. I haven't fleshed it out yet. I do have a Facebook page though, and my one-woman show is going to also be called Breathe with Me. Okay, so we'll look for that. I had it. It used to be called a one-night stand with Robin Krasny, deep and intimate, but you don't have to send me flowers in the morning. And I thought after the Kavanaugh hearings, I couldn't do that anymore. So I was like, okay, breathe with me. That's fine. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and breath, and we touched on this, but I just got trained in Zen breathwork facilitation. Cha-ching! Yay! So it's different kinds of breathing to basically unblock. And breathing, we all breathe, but doing breath in a certain frame of time, in a certain way, and just, your mind might start going, or you might have a release, but then you come back to the breath. It is so transformative. Doing it in groups is just amazing. Well, I do Qigong, and we do the Supreme Science Qigong. I've been an instructor for that, and we do a breath circle of 3,000 people together doing 9-breath method, and it's like, oh my God. And so the science behind breath is, why isn't there peace on the planet yet? It's bringing oxygen into the body. Yes, on a fundamental level, yes, you're getting oxygen in, but you're also engaging the parasympathetic nervous system. How many times during the day do I notice you're not breathing? It's because I'm worried about something, or thinking, or obsessed, or just unconscious. Right. But inspiration is bringing spirit in, right? Respiration, it's spirit circulating in and out. And when you're in a group, you're connecting in with people in one of the most intimate ways is you are sharing breath. So you're breathing. When you breathe out, I'm breathing that in. It's spirit getting intermingled in a group, and it's like everyone's going through their She makes process. Me so happy when she's talking about this. I can't tell you. My nipples are actually hard. I'm just so excited. I'm getting tingles. I'm getting like a body gasm. People don't realize it's so that they're searching all over the place. So this simple. Commercial, this is going to make me skinny. This is going to make me better. This is going to make me this. I got to buy this fancy car to be okay. I got to do this to be okay. All you have to do is breathe. Mm-hmm. All you have to do is be really aware and in the moment. Mm-hmm. Instead of the then and there, you're in the here and now. Right. When you're breathing, you're instantly brought into the moment. Right. If you pay attention to your breath, you are in the flame of the moment. Because you hear mindfulness and being in the moment. What does that mean? And it's a buzzword, but you know what I want to do right now? Yes. I want everyone to breathe with us. Just one breath. Okay, can I guide it? Or do you want? Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. We'll do just a short one. Hey guys, I invite you to breathe with us. You want to do that? Breathe with me. We're gonna take a deep breath in and just blow it out. Just let everything out for the moment. Okay, and on the next inhale, we're gonna wait for the body to breathe. You breathe in through the nose because it filters your air down to the tailbone, down through your feet, connect into the earth, bottom, middle, top. Connect up to the crown of your head. And as you exhale, relax, but don't collapse. Just relax all your flesh and open up your heart. is the sound of the heart. So that's all you need. Three of those. And you're
let's
like,
do one more.
You want to do 3?
Let's do one more, but we'll just do it.
Okay, ready? Take a deep breath in.
There you go. See, you can even do that when you're driving.
Just don't close your eyes.
No, just breathe. Just breathe. Bring that breath in, connect to your body, breathe out. And doing the you can get crazy in your car. But that really, for me, releases like emotional gunk. It's like, and you can kind of get nuts with it.
And I do that with my children that I teach at the band camp that we do every summer.
I love that you teach children.
Because
it's like a spot in my heart. That is a true badass alchemist mystic that are uplifting our little ones. So
they need to be taught this, right? Because especially right now the kids are under more stress than they've ever been. I thought we had it bad with the threat of nuclear war. We didn't have people walking into the school shooting people, you know? Mm-hmm. Holy crap. These kids need to be taught stress reduction skills, emotional coping mechanisms so they don't end up on the wrong side of the gun, either side of a gun. You know, and so I teach music to kids in the summertime with the Melbourne Municipal Band. Mm-hmm. And we do a summer program for kids who may not be able to afford it. We put an instrument in their hands that they have to blow through. What do you do when you blow? You have to breathe on the other side of that. So I get to teach an hour-long session with 100 kids on the floor about how to breathe, how to move energy, how to process stress if you've got it coming up in your system. Mm-hmm. And we do that, and they do it for like 3. They just get all their anger out in 3 loud exhales, and then all of a sudden everybody just goes, and the whole room, you can feel the silence just pervade, the peace come over it, because they've released that layer of tension that they often walk around with that nobody acknowledges.
Do you find children learn quicker than adults? Like they accept it
they're modeling behavior all the time. Their brains are forming faster than we can imagine.
They're in a certain brave wave pattern where they are absorbing up to I think age 6 or 7. They're like in delta, something like that.
They're just
and then
sucking it all in. So they're observing.
Yes.
And how you react in your behavior. And this is the hardest thing. I just raised a girl that wasn't my own from when her mom passed away. She was my goddaughter. And I just launched her to college. So I feel for all you mothers out there, this is especially for you, because the ability to stay in present moment and respond to your kid when you've got a whole shit ton of shit on your shoulders and a lot of responsibilities, and all of a sudden you hear, the ability to breathe. My mom used to do this. She's a saint, my mom. If you're listening, Mom, you know you are. Okay. She counted to 10. She'd just, whenever she got triggered, she'd go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then she'd breathe, open her eyes, and she'd be, present.
Balance and
present and non-reactive. And I was like, 5 kids later, how'd you do that, Mom? Especially with me.
Right. And the counting to 10 is kind of like an old school
yoga technique.
Yeah. It's just bringing yourself into the moment and breathing.
Right.
And balancing.
You know, all those things your mama used to say, there's some wisdom in the grandmother's wisdom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, the fact that children are still a lot more fluid and flexible and changeable and teachable than adults, because they don't have as much filters and programming and gunk, right? Yeah. I find that with the craniosacral work I do, that children and animals release
they respond very quickly, don't they? Yeah.
Next thing, done.
I've let go of that one. Can we move on now? And we don't have to keep rehashing it with them. Once they get it, they got it, and they're moving forward.
It's done. And I think a lot of the children coming in right now into incarnation is they are ready for the shift. And with technology,
they are the shift.
They are. There's a lot coming in that know full well what's happening with the Earth cycle and the raising of consciousness. So they're already in their spirit selves ready. And so when you're giving it to them in 3-dimensional and 4th-dimensional space, they're just like, yep, I clicked to that. Let's do that. Let's shift.
Yeah, and the handbook that we didn't get when we landed here on planet Earth. I mean, we got it through a bunch of different ways, but we really didn't get it, like, indoctrinated into us, was how to take care of our physical and mental and emotional bodies, how to be responsible for the vehicle that we're walking around in. I mean, we didn't get the old, okay, when you wake up in the morning, just sit there for a few minutes, tap into your breath, get centered on the day, focus on what you really want instead of what you don't want.
Yes.
Know that you're guided and protected.
Law of attraction.
Open your eyes and walk in love and peace, and eat right and drink a lot of water and do some yoga and exercise. I mean, who got that handbook? I had to learn that, right?
But there are, and I think for seekers out there, there's a lot of ancient texts and even current, looking at science now. There are resources.
Absolutely.
But it can get confusing because you might have, this is the right foods to eat. This is the way you do this. This is the way you do this for the physical body. And our physical bodies are changing.
Yeah.
The human body's like way different molecularly than when humans first appeared here. And it's getting
confusing.
into inner discernment, that inner guidance. So,
and how do you do that? You breathe.
Right, that is one way.
Well, that's the first way, if you ask me. You first get into your breath, and then you tap in. So it brings you to present time. So if there's anything that I have ever said that can turn you guys on to finding out what in the moment you are doing, it's just breathe, connect to the ground, to the earth that you're standing on, the heavens that bring you all that life force, and then open your heart and be the change
that you want to see.
Just be the change that you are, baby.
Just be.
Just be.
Just bam.
Let it. Yeah, I can't
be
sing
the
that.
bam.
Be the bam. I'll write you a theme song.
So I am kind of looking at time, and I think we probably should take a little break.
We are going to take a break.
We have to for sponsorship, and and can we, Jesse, can we play a little bit of Robin's song on the?
It's called "There's No Time Like Now" or "No Time Like Now."
Yeah, because I want to talk about this fabulous song.
listening to Space Coast Podcast, home of the greatest podcasts on the Space Coast. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor or having your own show, email us at spacecoastpodcast@hotmail.com. Space Coast Podcast. Talk hard!
All right. This is Doug Monda.
This is Karen Monda.
And Chris Hadaway.
And we're the host of Survive, the new podcast brought to you by the Survive First Foundation, a nonprofit organization assisting first responders and their families in need of mental health support due to the lifestyle of being a first responder. So, Chris, tell us what we're going to have.
We're coming to you from retired and active law enforcement officers as well as their spouses to discuss the responder life.
Don't forget, this is an unedited and raw podcast, so we need your interactive suggestions and advice to help us help others.
So find us live on our Survive First Facebook page and join in the conversation, or find us on demand on Spotify, iTunes, or anywhere you listen to podcasts from the Space Coast Podcast Network to you.
Okay, so we are back from break. Hopefully you're still with us.
After that little dance,
I know, we weren't expecting the whole song, but hey, we went with it. We're live, so you got to just be in the flow, right? It's water, right?
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
That's why water.
Even my
today.
lip syncing wasn't that great because I'm singing like 6 different parts in that song.
You were. Well,
Yeah.
and I didn't realize our mics were still on, so we were singing, and I'm like, oh my God, we're messing up the song. Well, I was. So, hey, live, impromptu, it's fun. Woo!
It's good. Yeah, that's what's fun.
So, no time like now. I love that song. You talk about freedom, you talk about liberty, you talk about just breaking the wall. Like there was one little part of that I feel like embodies badassery.
Ooh, which part?
To raise your voice, sing your part, feel the strength within your heart, melt the fear, walk through walls. Love is calling to us all. To me, that is, you gotta melt that fear. That's like doing this live today. It's like I had to melt the fear. I have to walk through that wall that my mind's putting up that, oh my God, you're going to be judged on this. And what if it doesn't go right? Or what if we say the F word too much?
That was more for my, that was her fear for me.
But I can fall into that cycle.
I know, we both
me.
can.
But it's like, it's about being authentic and having fun and being like, hey, this is living, this is the world. So I want to talk about, I just think that the timing of this song is perfect because we all do need to kind of stand up and
raise our voice.
The time is now. Like, it's not like, oh, tomorrow, or we still have 10 years or whatever. Like, do it now. So you wrote the words to the song.
Eddie and I did.
So robinandeddy.com.
Yeah, Robin, ROBINANDEDDY.com. So it's Robin with an I, Eddie with a Y.com. And Eddie and I have been playing together since 1995, the end of 1995. Wow. We were performing 3 days after we met. And we've played all over the place, all over the country. And then our CDs and our music have been played around the world. It's just been a real interesting ride with Eddie because he's the most loyal man that's ever been around me. I'd have to say that he's stuck around, even though we're not married. Thank God I married him to somebody else. But no, literally we have been musical creative partners for over 25 years. And that has offered us a lot of opportunities of challenge.
That's a relationship. That's a partnership.
I'm in a relationship.
Creative partnership.
Yeah, no, it's a creative partnership. Yeah, and we both are literally two opposite sides of the coin.
Which fascinates me.
I'm sure it fascinates a lot of people.
No, because the polar opposites, like that's what we have to look at in the world with solving all of our problems is can we put that stuff aside to make changes
on
to
the
get to solutions or create together.
Yeah.
So tell me more about, so you two are on opposite sides on a lot of issues.
Yeah, you could say that. And we've gotten to the point, I mean, we almost broke up over it in the last election. So I was done with it. And I realized, Eddy and I have always had this oil and vinegar type of relationship. We don't mix, but we make a great salad dressing. You add a little that Robin and Eddy stuff to things, and there's some magic there. It's because when we write, it's not pretty. And ask our engineer Mark Brazel. He can tell you when we're in the studio just how ugly it can get. But at the same time, it's like the nitty gritty of grinding words out. And we're in the studio right now working on a song called "I Don't Want to Bring You Down." Because it's like, you think you have the answer, you say you know the score, believe in what you're thinking, don't you know there is always more? Because you don't understand what I'm saying. I can see there's no in between. There's a river of doubt among us. How do we get past this scene? And it's about, I don't want to bring you down. I don't want to take you, I don't want to bring you down. I still love you, even though I don't see eye to eye with you. So that we're taking those feelings and those thoughts of being at two different spectrums, writing and putting it into something that hopefully can connect the disparate factors and factions that are happening in our world today, because it's not going to be solved with a thought. It's going to be solved with something that comes from the heart, that surpasses, that integrates. Let me put it this way. Not even surpass, but transcends and integrates.
It's alchemy.
Thank you, my dear.
It's alchemy.
Thank you for being a badass.
But it's coming from the heart space, and that we're meeting in this space of love, you know, and space of, hey, we all want the same
tolerance.
Thing. Yeah.
Because no doubt Eddy tolerates me and I tolerate him on some levels,
And even in your song, it's that the time is now. There's a lot of talk about freedom. It's freedom is the life we choose. It's the dream of humankind. So we all have this right of freedom, but
it's our birthright.
It is. So you can have your views on your upbringings and your structures and your mental processes and experiences, and Eddy can have his. Eddy, we're talking about,
Yeah, he knows it. He can hear it. He can actually hear me talking about him right now.
But we really ultimately want the same thing, which is freedom of expression, of being who we are, having respect for each other and love, and that we're all on this planet together.
And that's what our music is.
Right.
As for 25 years has been doing that for people, literally. This has just brought it to
25 years.
That's longer than my kid is old, right? Yeah, it's surprising how long we've actually been playing together. And I met Eddy, he did an album with Denny Doherty of the Mamas and Papas in the 70s called What You Gonna Do. And Denny sang on our CD with us. He was a great friend and an amazing singer, songwriter. And to be able to sing with one of my heroes has been he was awesome. And he loved our music. And he sang with us all the time. So he was like a partner that kind of balanced us out in a lot of ways, with he could laugh at both of us, which was really good.
Yeah.
So now we have integrated Denny's laugh, since he's passed on, into our own world, and we still write, still sing, still play, still record. We're in the studio right now. We're putting stuff up on the radio. We just released a song called "The Island" about a week before the hurricane hit.
Oh, wow.
The island.
Talk about mysticism.
Oh, dude.
Kind of channeling that in, that's needed.
Yeah. And that's where we both did our dolphin course.
Yeah.
Separately together.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
I haven't heard about how the dolphins are.
I have. They're all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
they're
good.
all fine. Yeah.
Good. My people are okay.
Yes.
So anyway, the music thing and the yoga thing that I do and the healing thing and all that is kind of integrated into a performance that I do, a one-woman show called Breathe With Me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm taking music, poetry, qigong, yoga techniques, breathing techniques in a show where I bring people through my experience from the dark night of the soul into an awakening of their connection to all of life. And I had written this in 1997 as a musical called The Light Show that we did here at the Henniger Center. And we had aromatherapy and light therapy and sound therapy on the audience, and it was quite a show. Now I'm kind of condensing it into a one-woman show.
Right.
It's easier to take me on the road than 20 people and a bunch of donkeys and cows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The circus.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think a lot of healers and because I'm getting that too, that vibe of it's time to kind of go out and travel in a community and spread light and do what we do best in our badassery, right?
I agree. It is so time. Then no time like now, baby. I'm gonna keep saying that.
There is no time like now. It's true. It's like if you're getting a soul or spirit message, that inner yearning, that inner fire, that it's time to do something, and it keeps nudging you. There's no time like now. Do it.
Right.
Like just freaking do it. Like
Right.
stop procrastinating. Stop
procrastinating. I have no idea what you're talking about. I wrote this song, this poem called "The Winds of Change," because I was really feeling it the other day. There's like the winds of change are here. To me, it's very clear. The signs are there. But don't despair. There's progress to be made. When these new winds blow and test everything we know, wakes up hate, don't take the bait. Just breathe and let it go. Because the winds of change are here. It's the choice. For love or fear, don't make the claim they're both the same. It's a price already paid. Have faith in truth and light and what seeks to make things right. Act with care and love. Kind thoughts just aren't enough. Be bold and unafraid, because the winds of change are here. The end.
Lovely.
Thank you.
See, this is what it's like hanging out with Robin.
Wait, that reminds me of a song.
No,
Hold
honestly,
on.
like she has been writing poems and songs. She plays like every instrument. So if you're like sitting around a fire with her, it's like, or even just hanging out, it's like, all of a sudden you're in the midst of like this BAM festival. It's
like
just
that.
like, yeah,
BAM.
it's just like, it's you're in the moment, you're creating, you're in that spirit flow, you're singing songs, you're remembering things that you created when you were a kid. It's like, oh yeah, I did this. And
It's like I lost my memory when my boyfriend was hit by a truck and killed in 1999. And some of you may be going through some really heavy shit right now. And understood that there's a lot of stuff going on. And when I went through that, I lost my memory. And I lost, I have hundreds of journals with poems and stuff that I don't remember I wrote. And I'm looking through pictures and realizing that pictures are the doorways back into my memory, because I'm like looking at them going, oh, okay, now I've got my whole past back. I'm looking through photos and getting my past back. But what's a gift about losing your memory is that you're suddenly thrust into present time.
Mm-hmm. I have a couple clients that had traumatic brain injury said the same thing. You almost become this, you're in the present constantly, and you're just kind of like in this spiritual flow.
You
almost
are.
Like in the tarot deck, it's the Fool. It's that innocence. It's like you're just kind of going through life without judgment, without, all the crap of your past experiences weighing you down.
The only tough thing about that, until you get used to
I don't recommend getting a brain injury in order to get to this state, but I finish your thought, and then I want to talk about
the thing that was,
something.
once you get past the fear and the embarrassment, if people come up to you and go, hey, remember me when I did remember what you talked about next week? And you're like, got nothing. I got nothing. You can't make plans. I liken it to singing at old folks' homes, because I did a lot of that with Eddy, that you're singing for people who are just totally in the moment. They're not making plans for their future because they're going to have dinner right there at the old folks' home. They're not doing anything outrageous anymore. They don't remember their past. So you can't do callbacks and stuff in the show. You got to just be real clear with the message that you're giving in the moment. And so when that happened to me, and it, in a lot of ways, I'm still kind of thrust into present time, because I don't have that same elephant memory that I used to, but I can still remember the words to my songs, most of them. And certain things. So it was like, okay, I had to let go of everything extraneous so that I could be a voice for singing Spirit's wisdoms.
That's right. That's right.
And when I let go of the fear of being in that space, it was grace. It was completely grace. It was like when I went on voice rest for 2 weeks after I had my laser surgery on my vocal cords in high school. Yeah, they told me I'd never sing again. So going into a silent meditation at 17 years old and seeing all of a sudden getting into that peaceful space and never wanting to talk again because it was just too peaceful there and I didn't want to blow it, you know? So, it's like so many things we could talk about.
So how did you have them saying you're never going to sing again.
Right.
How did you, and I want to bring up the dark night of the soul.
Oh, well, that's one of them.
Well, and some people might not know what that is. Some people listening might not understand.
Well, how would you explain dark night of the soul?
But I want to also get back to how you went against what the doctors and people were saying, like, you're never going to do this again. Or if someone gets a diagnosis of, you have this disease, you have MS, you have lupus, or you're paralyzed, you're never going to walk again.
Whatever, you're always going to be stuck with this for
and
the
then
rest
people, they go into remission, or their disease just disappears. They do walk again. How does that click happen?
I think that's that shift that we were talking about, going into an overview or asking the universe. I used to do this all the time. If there was a reason in any universe, anywhere, why this happened, if there's a reason, a good reason, something I can really learn from this that's going to make my soul grow, what would it be? Because in the midst of my grief, in the midst of my pain, it's almost like a get down on your knees and call out to God, like, what the fuck? Why is this happening? Mm-hmm. So once you get past the why is this happening to me victim place, the next question will be, what, if anything, anywhere, can I learn from this? And what that does is it shifts the information coming into you to attract that information to come in. And suddenly you're not in the victim mode anymore. You're in a place of receivership of something, anything, an inkling. And maybe it's not that good. I heard after my boyfriend was killed, he was hit by a truck putting gas in his car on the side of 95. So if you have to pull off 95, get way the fuck off. Do not just sit in the road on the side because people don't see you, especially at 2 o'clock in the morning. So after I got over, well, I didn't get over it. It was the first day when that happened. And I lost my memory and all this stuff. And I was taken down to my knees because here I am, a healer, and I give for a living. This is what I do. I give to everybody. And suddenly I was not in a place where I could give anything. I was completely shut off from giving. And I heard when I asked that question, if there's any reason that this ever in any particular way could have happened, and if there's anything I can learn from it, what would it be? And I heard you would not have been able to receive love.
You heard in your spiritual ears.
Yeah.
Yes.
And suddenly I knew that had something that brutal that cut me off from giving hadn't have happened, I would have never learned how to receive the love. And people were at my house. People made me food. People came out of the closet that I didn't even know to take care of me. My expectation was that people that were around me that I've taken care of were going to take care of me. That was not true. So I had to let go of my disappointment about expecting certain people to be there that couldn't be for any certain reason, but appreciating the fact that a whole new world of people came into my life to guide me through that experience. So it's like really finding the appreciation, and that's not easy.
Gratitude, appreciation.
People say those buzzwords, but when you're in the dark night of your soul, you're like, yeah, you're not easily searching for that one thing that's going to pull you out, But I'd say it's baby steps. Keep asking.
Yeah. Yep.
Keep asking and keep knowing that there is something that can come from it that will help your soul, and that maybe you can use to help others as you grow through. And the reason they call grief a process is because it doesn't happen overnight. And if there's anybody who could have processed something overnight, I thought it would have been me, because I'm a badass alchemist and mystic, mofo. And I found out that, geez, that's just not true. Grief comes in waves and layers, and it surfaces at the weirdest time. I'm driving down the street. I see a squirrel lying on the side of the road, and I'm triggered. I'm sobbing in the car because that was his body lying on the side of the road. So things will hit you all the time, and not to judge yourself for the waves, because it's better out than in.
Right. Yeah. And
I think that's
the dark night of the soul is those times in your life. It can be one big time, or it can be several times, but it's where you're really forced to look at the shadowy aspects of yourself, the heavier, denser emotions, the grief, the sorrow, anguish. Life events can bring them up. Sometimes it's collective. We're not going to have time to talk about that.
Oh my God, we could do this for hours, you guys.
There are collective things that energy workers and healers are working through in addition to our individual paths. But the dark night of the soul is an opportunity, though, to walk through the darkness and then come out a more enlightened person. And grief, you're right. It's honoring that it's okay to be in those heavier emotions when you need to be, but occasionally opening up to what are the gifts spirit or my loved ones or my community giving to me. Where are those hands that are reaching out to help you step out, pull you out? It might just be, like you said, one little step. You might crack the door to the light a little bit, but it's at least cracking the door open, or someone, offering some help. But it's till you're, in recovery. It's called, oh my gosh, it's gone. It's it's when you're at your rock bottom, the gift of desperation.
Oh, there's no bigger gift.
It's that dark night of the soul. If you're in addiction or alcoholism and you're like at your rock bottom, it's like it's in that moment that you have opportunities to step out of it.
Yeah, and
work yourself out.
The thing that's the toughest for me, I was teaching like 5 dance classes at the time. More freedom of movement class, not dance like, woohoo, look at me, what I can do. No, it's what the dance that we were talking about, free flow dance, 5 rhythms dance. Gabrielle Roth, she's awesome. So I was doing that dance, and all of a sudden I couldn't move. Physically, the grief was so intense, it was paralytic. And my whole class came over me and laid on top of me and just held me. Elizabeth was there. A bunch of our friends were there, and I was just sobbing. And what I realized is that grief can really cause us to shut down and contract and not open up. So the fear, if we've been hurt in love, our contraction around our heart, how can we open back up to even the possibility of loving again? If we've been hurt, we have to figure out a way to open back up again, because that's where life is.
Yeah.
Is in this flowering and expansion of our heart and our body and our mind. So the movement helps to, we were talking about how to process those emotions up, how to get them out. Move, breathe, scream, yell, cry, get in a place where it's safe to do that. Because remember when you're a little baby and you're crying, you're like, I used to cry every day, masturbate, then cry every day, or vice versa. Anyway, just to move the energy.
People.
Okay, this is BAM, okay? So like to move the energy, and then suddenly the baby falls asleep, wakes up on the right side of the bed, as my parents used to call it. And then suddenly you've processed out all the stuff that gets stuck in you all day. Babies have it built naturally in.
Yeah.
Until they get shamed out of doing it.
Right. There's a lot of things, even imagination as little kids.
Well,
that gets thrown out too. And now as adults, we're trying to recapture that, through meditation classes. And it's like, just
breathe
and
move.
Go back to imagination. Yes, breathe, move,
and
If
pretend.
you want to create, a lot of we were talking about too is when you get that diagnosis. I have a thought in that I want to just touch on, and this is even in your dark night of your soul. Once you kind of do start easing out of it, accepting the love that's around you and the gifts and the spiritual help, the messages that are blatantly right in front of you, it's so dark sometimes you don't even see what's right here. But when you start to open your eyes and see, the way we think is really huge, being in human form. It's really how we create. So if you do have a diagnosis that you are in this box and you're going to be in there forever, you are never going to sing again, you're never going to walk again, you're never going to be able to do this or that, you're going to die in 6 months. If you buy into that framework,
gone.
Right?
Yep.
That's
well,
the outcome.
this is the badass that you have to be, is that you have to be a badass enough to say, I don't believe everything I read, I don't believe everything I hear, and I don't believe what somebody in a white coat is telling me, necessarily.
Or it might even be your loved one.
Or a guru.
You'll never be
or
an
a politician.
Artists don't make money, parents. Or whatever, and
I know.
It's white coat, but it's also, it could be in the mask of people that do
Care
love
about
us,
you.
but they are going with what their framework is. And
don't piss on people's dreams, people. That's all I got to say. Don't piss on my dream. I won't piss on yours.
That's right.
But you know, there's so much there's so much loaded into what we could talk about, into transforming grief and getting people just the baby steps and everything like that. I do sessions with people like you do to help people process emotional information.
Yes.
All kinds of scary stuff.
So we have a couple minutes left. So why don't we talk? We'll just kind of.
First of all, y'all, follow Badasses, Alchemists, and Mystics, because I think this is good. Facebook follow Trisha
Schmalhofer.
Yeah, I can never say that name.
Trisha Schmalhofer.
We just call her Trisha.
Yes, because it's breath.
It's like, Trisha. So, follow robinandeddy.com. And we're going to be putting out some more music, and call your radio stations and ask to hear No Time Like Now and The Island and I Care and Titanic Proportions, some of our other songs up there.
You have a Facebook page, Robin and Eddy?
I do.
Or a YouTube channel?
I do.
Yeah. So look for Robin and Eddy. It's EDDY.
And Robin Krasny, SNY, and Eddy Fischer, SCHER. So,
so YouTube
we're around.
Channel, Badasses, Alchemists and Mystics. BAM does not have a YouTube channel as of yet, but it will get formed. We do have
as of today.
We do have an email, and it is badass community. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's BAM community11 at gmail.com. BAM community 11.
I like it. It's a master number,
It
man.
sure is.
Yeah.
Binary code, open.
Okay.
It's all coming in at gmail.com. And we do have a Facebook page. It's a growing community, and we're looking for sponsors. Podcasts are an amazing venue to get your business out there.
We had people chime in. We had Joanna Salerno saying we're looking and sounding great.
That's
Thank you.
Jesse's mama, who
And
I had on the
Dana
first episode.
Dava.
Yes. Hi, Dana. Yes, that is.
This is fun. I got to come back and do this again.
So when we do live again, I'll be better about looking at the comments, but you can ask questions, because I'm an intuitive. I have a lot of people that are psychic mediums out here, intuitives, and or if you just want to ask a question about what we're talking about or what we do, you can email those questions in to bamcommunity11 or bamcommunity11 at gmail.com, and I can answer them on the air. I'd love to start doing that kind of format, because that can be cool. And
my email is breathewithme.love@gmail.com.
And my personal email for my business, because I'm a healer, therapist, I just overall BAMmer.
She's a BAMmer.
It's medhealers.com, and we are just about done. So thank you so much, Robin, for being on here. I love you too. You are fabulous. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all for being here. Bye.